problem 1346 on page 459. In this particular case, we're using the same data set we have in previous problems on Major League Baseball values. We're going to do the exact same thing that we actually did earlier, but we're going to look at the results a little bit differently. So go to data, data analysis, regression. The Y values are columns C1 to C31. The B values, or the X values, are from column B 31. So revenue determines value, not the other way around. We have our output range, which I'm going to put in B2. I'm also going to select confidence at 95% in this case, because it's going to ask for the level of significance, and it's also going to look at a confidence interval for the slope. So it's going to actually look very similar to what we had before. We have our printout, which I'll expand here. The default is 95%, by the way, for the confidence intervals. It'll always give you that. But if you had a different number like 98 or 90%, it'll calculate the confidence intervals. So in this particular case, at a 5% level of significance, is there evidence of a linear relationship? So you're looking at the slope, which is the revenue. So you look at the p-value in this particular case, and the p-value is incredibly low. It's negligible. It's 0.267 to the negative 21, which is a whole lot of decimals to the right. So it's very small. And so that is actually good, because if you reject HO, HO is that the slope is 0, if you've read your book. So if the slope is 0, you would fail to reject HO. But in this case, the slope is not 0. And in fact, we're stating that the slope is 8.58. And so we're saying that that is significant, that we would reject HO, which is actually good. That means that the revenue does affect the value. That's the conclusion. Then we have our confidence interval. So the lower limit is 7.91. And this is again for revenue, which is the slope, to an upper limit of 9.249 or 9.25. You can also have the same thing for the intercept, but we're not asked for that in this particular case. And usually it's the slope that is the most important. In this case, our single input factor or independent variable, or X value, is revenue. Revenue drives the value. The higher the revenue, the higher the value of your team. If you're an owner of a baseball team, you definitely want to know this.